to do it.
That's right.
And so, yeah, so sitting across from me is Bishop Dwayne David Royster.
All right, and sitting across from me is the Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler, Senior Pastor of the Mother Bethel AME Church, all around great guy and a civic leader in the city of Philadelphia. How do you like that?
Thank you. I'll send you $5 on Cash App right now.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You should have
Because
just said that
you
little.
missed my intro yesterday, so you know.
That was so funny. You were like, how do you like that? Everybody on Facebook was like lighting it up, like, that was dope. Like, I didn't see any or hear any of it. Oh, boy. The views expressed by us, though we are very much affiliated with the organization that is funding this, this is our hour to blow off steam. So these are our views. Some of them, Power would probably stand behind 100% as an organization. Most of it, they're like, you're on your own. You two preachers are on your own.
And they would say we were off the chain. I guess I might be dating myself by saying that. So, yes.
They're like, yeah, we don't know them. Yeah.
Nope.
So, and Kuwesa is holding it all down.
Kuwesa.
What's up? Good morning, Kuwesa.
Good morning.
How's life?
Doing okay. Can't complain. Good to be here.
I'm going to call this the Greek hour. I think we just changed the name from the power hour to the Greek hour, right? You got an alpha, iota, and a sigma, gamma, rho. And I have to say that one of the advantages of being an iota, let me just say this real fast. Last night, I was on my grad chapter meeting, and in the middle of the meeting, one of our last living founders shows up in the meeting just to say hello. That was really cool.
Dude, I saw that. Quace, it was on his Facebook page. I'm like, wait, a founder of your fraternity showed up at a meeting?
Yes. He just showed up to say hello.
Bruh, our founders, man, rest in peace. They've been off the scene for a very long time.
Yeah, well, our fraternity's not quite as old as yours. And the grad chapter I belong to actually has a lot of members of the second and third line of the fraternity in it. But it was actually really powerful to watch when the honorable founder, Frank Coakley, showed up in the meeting, how the rest of them just deferred to him in that space. It was this really powerful moment for me to watch. And I mean, I've been in the frat 32 years. It'll be 33 years in April. And just to watch, you know, the reverence. I think we often think about black men not respecting black men, and we think about all the violence in the street. But when in this particular moment, and these were elder, you know, these men are in their 70s and 80s. But when Brother Coakley came into the room, everything stopped. They stopped all business. They stopped everything. And just to acknowledge his presence, we prayed for him because he has had some, you know, illness challenges. He's getting older. And it was just really, really powerful just to watch and experience that whole moment. It was actually, I got goosebumps over the whole thing. So anyway, so I just wanted to share that.
All right. Will Mega is dogging you out.
Why is Will Mega dogging me out?
Talking about iota.
He can talk about iota all he wants. He didn't pledge that I did.
There you go.
Ow.
Well, you know,
Late.
I'm just simply saying, you know, I'm just simply saying. There's an advantage to being
what
first.
Did Will pledge? Will, what did you pledge? Please tell me what you pledged.
You know Will is a Kappa.
He's a new, well, with the name Will Mega, I thought he was a Q. I was going to say Happy Founders Day to him.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, after us, everybody is, what is that, like Ricky Bobby said, if you ain't first, you're last.
Oh, wow. It's like that? It's like that? Oh,
I'm trying to defend you, bro.
Oh, I appreciate you. Well, I mean, you know.
I'm not kind of threw you under the bus in trying to defend you, but but that's dope. I love that seriously that one of your founders showed up. That must be incredible. I look back on friends that I know, fraternity brothers who had a chance to meet some of the seven jewels who founded Alpha. By that time, they were like, well up in their age. Sure. Alpha being founded in 1906. And just the kind of, like you said, again, the opportunity of actually meeting and touching or speaking to and getting some knowledge from one of those persons from an organization that means so much to you is just really incredible. So shout out to the IOTAs and to all of the Divine Nine. Divine Nine are going to have a lot to say obviously, about this election in Georgia. Raphael Warnock is an alpha. And so, again, another opportunity is people are going to find out there's like this big silent majority out there as well. Um, yeah, right on. Bernita says, it's cold in here. That's
Oh,
exactly right.
jeez. Oh,
Thank you, Bernita.
jeez. Oh,
It
here
is
we
like
go.
it's like ice in this room where I am.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my goodness. Here we go.
Hold my mule.
I was having a deep sentimental moment about my fraternity and the
Hold.
experience I had, and now it goes into like let's compare Greek life and and talk about it, how good we are.
Hey,
Here we go.
hey, so Raphael wants us to get to the serious stuff. Raphael, in all due respect, give us this moment because let's be honest, it's been so tense the last, good Lord, 6 weeks
Yes, it has.
where we've not had an opportunity to even have a moment of frivolity, just for not even a moment in our little 1 hour show, because it has just been that intense. And now things are finally beginning to return to normal, and we're back to kind of the normal craziness of DC and the normal craziness of Harrisburg and the normal craziness of Philadelphia. We'll get there. Just give us a moment, please. Thank you very much. So speaking of today, speaking of today, I will be testifying in a hearing along with probably dozens of other people on a bill that has been put forth by Council Member Catherine Gilmore Richardson. I guess it's going up for its final piece before it gets signed into law. This is the bill, by the way, that is going to give us daylight and
Hmm.
sunlight into something that up until now has been a very dark process. That is to say, the negotiation rather of the contract with the Fraternal Order of Police. Now, let me say that the mayor's office last year said, that they were going to operate in good faith with everyone. This is before this law was even presented, and that they would let organizations that are interested in police accountability and city council know exactly what's going to happen before it happens. It looked like that's where it was going. There was actually a lot of good communication. And then all of a sudden, COVID hits. They feel pressured that they have to cut a deal with the police union, and they do a 1 year extension. And we all found out about it in the news. Oh, by the way, we gave them a 1 year deal,
Yeah.
2.5% raise, go throw them $14 million extra. And yeah, I mean, no big deal. It's COVID. Let's keep it moving. Well, y'all cut everybody else. Yeah. So the point is that you really can't trust elected officials to do the right thing when it comes to the police, which is why you need independent police oversight, by the
Right.
way, because again, it's just too much political pressure. The FOP is a serious lobbying body. So that being said, today I'll be testifying in that hearing, and I'm interested to get your thoughts, Royster, and
Hmm.
the thoughts of some of our listeners this morning about what I should put into that 2 minutes. What are the key elements that you think ought to be a part of either why this is important to pass this, what it should do, why is this an important thing that we know before the mayor or future mayors sign a deal with the FOP?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, in my estimation, the Fraternal Order of Police, um, for all intents and purposes, is a racist institution. And I'm not sure that the city should be in business with institutions that, when you look at who they represent, how they represent them, um, does so in a manner that is consistent with practices that are anti-racist and that are
Mm,
forthcoming in our community. And I always find it interesting that the cops that always seem to get their jobs back always seem to be white. I don't see very many black and brown cops ever getting their jobs back. Now, I'm not advocating that folk who do bad things should get their jobs back. I just happen to notice that. I happen to notice that this police union is still majority white in a city that's majority black and brown. And so the money that goes to fund their members, and which therefore also funds their union, because the money for the union comes out of the dues of the salaries the dues come out of the salaries of the police officers, is essentially funded by the citizens of Philadelphia. I think there has to be some level of accountability for that union, because they're taking public dollars, right? Those are public dollars that are going to fund their institution. Second of all, I also believe that I think all the union, I mean, it shouldn't just be this union, but I think all the union contracts should be up for some level of scrutiny, public scrutiny, in some way or another, but in particular, the police union, because of the problematic nature that its members have with the citizenry of Philadelphia and the guests that come to our city, and the way that they carry out their practices. So it just seems to me, if we're going to provide police oversight, which we just passed in a ballot initiative with 79.2% of the electorate saying we need a police oversight board with some teeth to it, then we also need to have oversight of every aspect of the policing process, including the union, here in the city of Philadelphia. So those are some of my thoughts. They're not a complete set of thoughts. I could ramble on probably for another 45 minutes about this, in terms of, my thinking about it, but I'll stop there.
No, well, I appreciate that, and I especially appreciate where you started with the idea of things being anti-racist. As I've been saying, all along, that there's some things you can't legislate out of people. The fear in which those two officers who shot and killed Walter Wallace.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that those two guys are racist. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that they have been socialized in a racist society to look at black people in a particular way and to think of black people in a particular way, which is why it's so easy for a Donald Trump to convince his supporters that there was cheating in Philadelphia, in Detroit, in Atlanta. You know why? They're all black cities. And so
implicit bias too, right? It's implicit bias, so it's even at a subconscious level.
That's exactly right. So then all of these other things in society reinforce all of these negative things, and you end up with people seeing a Walter Wallace as being more threatening than he actually is in that moment. You view him as a threat instead of someone who needs help. If he were a white man, the same size, the same knife, coming out the same door, I doubt that he would have been shot and killed in less than a minute. I'm not saying they wouldn't have killed him, but I'm saying that I think they would have gone, over and above trying to save him. But again, this is all steeped in, being a part of the American experience. We all carry it, right? And so, again, I appreciate the emphasis on anti-racist. I wish that there was a racist test that police officers could take before joining the force.
There is, actually. There is.
Is it really?
Yes, there is. It's actually, Harvard University has developed a test that measures your implicit bias that is proven to be very accurate. And you can actually get the test free online. You can go in and type Harvard implicit bias test. It will pop up, and you can take the test yourself to determine your biases. And it doesn't just measure race. It measures gender identity, gender bias. It measures a whole bunch of things.
So, all right, I've heard about things like this, but I think there's something different about going for something that is explicitly anti-racist versus implicit bias. I know there's been a lot of debate back and forth on both sides. And to me, again, I think that's where a lot of this conversation needs to go. Not about just like, well, this is how I feel about, I don't know, people of this particular ethnic background. No, how do you feel about black people? Because
but I think that's why the implicit bias test is important, because the implicit bias test gets past the conscious. And the implicit bias measures the unconscious. So you can't control it. You can't control how you respond in this. You can only respond to it, and your responses are measured at a subconscious level. So there are a lot of people, matter of fact, you and I know some of these folk, right? They have great rhetoric about race, right? They can talk all day long about race. But I'm telling you, if they were to do an implicit bias test, the implicit bias would discover that they have racial bias inside of them. And it's that subconscious bias that is the dangerous piece, not the conscious bias. The conscious bias, could be all bluster. It's the unconscious bias, because it's the unconscious bias. So, for example, I'm trying to think of his name, John Powell, who was at the Center for Inclusion, at the Haas Center for Inclusion at UC Berkeley. Right. So, John Powell's been civil rights activist, been doing this work for decades. So John Powell was at a Samuel DeWitt Proctor conference, and John Powell said that there's a hierarchy of human value in American society, and it can be measured. And he talked about the fact that, you know, white folk kind of come across as human, both white men and women. Asian men and women are just a little bit below them on that, right? You come down, Latinas and Latinos, Latinas rank higher than Latino men do, indigenous people, and then at the very bottom of the ranking are black men and black women. Now, here's the thing. They not only measured people's responses to human beings, they measured people's responses to animals and inanimate objects. And so when most people see black men, in particular darker-skinned black men, whether they are doing anything or not, their subconscious responds at the same level as a big, angry, barking dog. So there's, you know, you immediately get that fight or flight thing going on inside of you, which is why a lot of times people don't even realize subconsciously they see a bunch of black teenagers standing on a corner. Instead of walking through, women clutch their purses and walk across the street. Sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. They just do it because it's at a subconscious level that they're responding to that. It's the same thing that was happening with those cops when they, you know, saw the video. And you mentioned on air, they kept saying that they felt like the guy was running after them, and he wasn't running after them. He was walking. But they felt it was because their subconscious was kicking in because all they saw in that moment was a big, angry, barking dog that was coming after them.
And you know what? You know what's deep about that? Is that when you said that, I was thinking about that hierarchy, and I was saying, actually, if black men are at the very bottom of that, and black men and women can debate this, but if you're talking about this, you know, the threat assessment, black men are going to be at the bottom, right, of this. I would say you have to put the dog above the black man, because when I was thinking about, I talked about this yesterday with somebody, having this conversation on in a Zoom town hall with some folk in Seattle. And I said, if anybody in America, if a group of people saw even a cop kneeling on the neck of a German Shepherd or even a pit bull for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, and the dog was not resisting, the dog was not barking, the dog was not trying to bite, but just laying there and looking with those little puppy dog eyes, that if we watched an officer of the law do that to a dog like they did to George Floyd for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, at some point, even if the officer's partners did not try to stop him, the crowd would have tried to stop him. Absolutely. For a dog, because they would have understood the dog is helpless. And yet, people watched George Floyd have the life taken out of him for 8 minutes and 46 seconds and did not give him the same benefit that a dog would have received, though he was not resisting, though he was not fighting, though he was complying. And, you know, and I just want to just simply say that this is the stuff you cannot legislate out of people. What you just went through, that entire list of things. And so the important work, in addition to legislation, because until we can get that out of their system, we got to put guardrails around them. But until then, you know, with 3 minutes over break, Kwesi has been very kind. She has not texted us. She hasn't said a word. She's probably just there drinking her coffee like, I'm just going to let them go on. So we're going to stop taking advantage, take a quick break, and come back and read some of your comments on Facebook. If you want to talk about this subject, you can give us a call, but don't call trying to take us off into, you know, down a rabbit hole. We'll be right back. It's the Power Hour.
Pennsylvania's COVID-19 mobile testing unit, KATE, will soon be coming to the area. Anyone who would like to be tested and receive free information and resources can attend a KATE tour stop. All services are first come, first served, and no appointments or insurance are required. Many stops will also provide free flu shots. To learn when KATE will be making a stop near you, please visit KATE, C-A-T-E, mobileunit.com.
COVID-19 impacted a lot of things this year, including regular vaccination appointments. Vaccines help protect you and everyone around you, especially during flu season. Schedule an appointment with your healthcare provider today to make sure you and your children are vaccinated. Vaccines keep us safe, and they work. Skip the flu this year. Get your vaccination today. Let's stay protected together. For more information, visit health.pa.gov. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education." For all young people to succeed in Philadelphia public schools, they need adequate resources and materials. But not all students have the same access and opportunities they deserve. As Philadelphia public schools continue to operate with remote learning, we at WURD Radio want to do our part to help students have the resources they need to be successful. Please join us and our community partners, Global Citizen and the Cayuga Elementary School, by donating supplies online so students have the same supplies we would want for our own children. Go to globalcitizen365.org to make an online contribution of supplies.
Jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Livelihood. The new initiative from WURD Radio to connect Philadelphians to resources to help take the next steps in their professional lives. WordWorks.com features career readiness tools, entrepreneurship resources, funding opportunities, and events to expand your livelihood. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. Still in pretty good shape here in Philadelphia. No major problems out there. 95 southbound, coming down through Bridge, building a bit through the construction. Then again, Allegheny through Girard, getting heavy northbound looks good. Westbound Vine Expressway, just Light Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound University through the Vine, a little slow there through construction. Eastbound side, no problems yet. PA Turnpike and the Bluebird 476 looking good still this morning. 42, 55, 295 in New Jersey, running with no major issues there as well. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Dwayne Royster along with Mark Kelly Tyler. We're here Monday through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to bring you the latest in news, the happenings around Philadelphia, and, of course, our opinions. We always appreciate all of our listeners that are checking us out online, as well as those that give call into the show. And as we mentioned earlier, if you're calling in to talk about this topic around the police and the police hearing, you can feel free to give us a call. And I don't have the station numbers in front of me. You got the numbers?
No.
No. Okay, that's all right.
It doesn't matter. They got us on speed dial. 866-361-0900. We'll pay for the call. And to that point, I think Will is asking online, do we brothers take calls anymore? You know, let me just simply say, you know, I mean, I read the comments from the listeners. The calls haven't been going very well lately on this show. I'm not making this up. I'm not kidding you. You know, maybe when folk call, they don't read the comments, but you know, I'm just saying the folk that I'm listening to who are like giving us instant feedback, I don't know. You know, I mean, we'll take a call this morning. I think George from Center City wants to talk about contracts. You know, we'll take calls on topic, but we have like kind of a very small group of people who call all the time. And so it's, you know, we'd love to get like some more diverse views, but yeah, I'll just watch the feed this morning. Let's see. The hearing, yes, it will be televised. I think it's on channel 64 is where they televise all of the hearings. So you can see that even in COVID and with things being virtual, they have endeavored to continue to keep things public. They got to have that for the sunshine law there. Let me also ask you if you would share this video with other people as well. And I just appreciate the comments that are in here as well about things that people want us to talk about within that little 2 minutes. Folk are affirming the fact that, yes, they do have more concern about animals. Right. Look at Michael Vick. He could barely work in the NFL after abusing dogs, but, you know, cops can shoot people in the back and get the jobs back. Mm-hmm. Man, I mean, seriously, just think about this for a minute.
That's true.
We don't get the same consideration that an animal gets.
That's right.
But after all, the dog is man's best friend. And the black man is what?
I don't even want to say.
Gary says, I'm perfectly fine with no calls. It's an hour show. I mean, that's the other thing. It is only an hour. We don't have time for our banter. Thank you. For our commentary. But we're going to try it. All right. Go ahead, George. Welcome to the show. First time caller.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's good. Listen, let me say this here, Rad. Well, good morning, Holster. This going to be a real laughter today. Now, you're going to get through on the Zoom. They're going to make sure that you get through, and 2 or 3 others. The problem is, if you ever noticed, ever since they had Zoom, how many people, really get through. And then when you get through, they cut you, like you get cut so bad, but they're going to let you say everything you got to say. But everybody else, they're going to totally disrespect them. Now you see where the city is getting all these other people talking about, now all contracts have to be open. They're going to start putting everybody's business out there. Question is, with the police, they're going to go to court, and then they're going to win, and then if they put it on the ballot, which was right. But when they get into the legality of people's health and welfare and benefits and everything, it's like getting into a war with the police, a bigger war than we're in with them now. So at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, how do you really get to the end results of things? Doing everything. I used to think being open and being the public was the best way to do business with everything. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's best for you to go and try to negotiate things before you just take it out in the front. But believe me, those cops they're going to do everything underhanded. They're going to be worse than Trump, then it's just going to be an ugly situation.
All right, okay.
Council 33 and 47 got theirs. They're going to start scrutinizing theirs. So,
well, that's the fear.
Well, wait a minute, George, let me say this. George, if I own a company, I want to know the details about how people are running my company. The city of Philadelphia is owned by the people of citizens of Philadelphia. So I want to know the details of what's happening in my company. And since I'm the one paying for it, I got a right to know.
But then there's consequences with things, especially when people got a gun and vindictive. The police department's already showed you what they're capable of doing. Not answering calls, not stopping people, letting everybody go around. How many homicides is unsolved? Like 90% of the homicides in the city is unsolved. I mean, if you look at the real numbers of everything, we're in danger. Cops come to the scene of a shooting 10, 15 minutes later. All they do is walk around. They don't even try to get evidence together. Homicide makes all the overtime. I mean, it sounds good. All these slogans, they sound good. But, Mark, you've been in those rooms, and you see how low-life and dirty these people can be. And it's always the public who pay. The public's going to pay for it, believe me. It sounds good in logic, and it sounds good for radio and news. But in all actuality and reality, when they get in those rooms, believe me, it ain't going to work out like we all think it's going to work out. Do I think that they should, scrutinize the police and do more?
All right, George, we got you. We're running. It's already half past the show, but we got your point, and well taken. Again, there's the deal, then there's the deal that you didn't see, right? And that's generally what happens behind the scenes. We know this, and this is a part of the reason why Catherine Gilmore Richardson, fresh woman on city council, is trying to bring some sunshine to this. As Kiera Bradford Gray, our chief public defender, continued to say in our town halls, sunshine is what nature's, greatest disinfectant, that the more we can see, the less they're going to do that is against the wishes of the public. Now, I've seen a lot of people continue to post things and share things publicly that, call for the abolishment of the FOP, call for the termination of John McNesby. But look, folk, it's not that simple, right? And it's almost like you get rid of John McNesby, you're going to get another John McNesby, because he is channeling a spirit there. And so don't think it goes because he's gone. The reality is the FOP had the people who had the most influence in the FOP, from everyone I've spoken to, are the retired cops. Why retired cops have power in the police union, I have no idea, because that would be like retired preachers in my denomination running our church. Once you're retired, it's time for you to, we'd love to hear your opinion, and we certainly think that you have something to add, but you can't come and run everything.
That's right. You
So I don't.
vote.
And I don't even know how you even do that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
How do you abolish the FOP? That's a question, I think, a Rochelle Bilal question. If she's listening this morning, it'd be great to hear her opinion on how that happens. So let's see. On implicit bias, Will Mega has some thoughts. Good morning, Will.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
Doing fine.
That's great. I looked at the people who created that test. I didn't realize that they created this test over 20 years ago. Right? I mean, that don't mean there has not much to do with it. I just thought it might have been more recent in its creation. But they all are white. And so if we come out of society, American society, where we understand that white people are impacted by racism, I find it very difficult for white folks to create the implicit bias test without it being implicitly biased. I mean, its very nature in the creation of the people who put it together starts off with biases because it's imbalanced, right? Would you agree?
I mean, I think here's the thing, right? So first of all, the implicit bias test that Harvard has has been a part of a massive worldwide study. It has been peer-reviewed over and over and over again. It is recognized as the preeminent implicit bias test in the world. And while I would imagine that there probably is potentially some bias in it, I am sure that the designers took in consideration their own bias when they created the test. I mean, I think that that's part of the process that they had to work through, right? Because none of us are without bias, right? Even black folks. One of the interesting things about this implicit bias test that it showed was that oftentimes black folk saw black folk the same way white folk saw black folk. And this is at a subconscious level because it's the way we've been conditioned in society to see each other, which actually goes to explain a lot about why there is actually intraracial tension within the black community, because we have been taught to see each other a certain way. We go back to the Willie Lynch papers, it's the same thing, right? You separate the light skin from the dark skin, the men from the women, you put the house in the field. It's the whole thing that gets ingrained inside of us in a deep way, so that even when our mothers and our grandmothers go down the street and they see a group of black teenagers on the corner, they too clutch their purses and cross to the other side.
Can I respond to that real quick?
Sure, go for it.
I mean, it sounds good, and you just giving us the background, right? It sounds good for those who may not know and get when you say, oh, it's peer-reviewed, it's international, but all right, peer-reviewed in the world of academia. If the world of academia, of these professors and PhDs and psychiatrists who've peer-reviewed these studies, are coming from a place of global white supremacy in their primary frame of reference, it still is meaningless. Like, is it our best and brightest, some of our best and brightest African American scholars, African scholars, people who have, I mean.
Well, John Powell is black, so let me just say that John Powell, who is leads the Center for Inclusion at UC Berkeley, the Haas Institute of Center for Inclusion, is African American and considered one of the preeminent folk on dealing with the issues of bias and inclusion in society. And he stands by the test and has been doing this for 30, 40 years. So what
I'm saying is we can find a black cop who's accepted by white folks. We can find Negroes with letters. I'm not saying, I don't know the guy. I'm not saying anything about him personally. I'm just saying we can find plenty of people who say, oh, we have our black token here. I'm just saying I would seriously doubt that they checked and called on a Umar Johnson type, a Dr. Umar Johnson type, who's I would consider probably one that they would all say, oh no, we can't use him because he's too black biased, to come up with the backdrop of how to determine what's implicit bias. And then Reverend Tyler, my brother, before I go, you know you can't put that out there and not give context. All we do is clown one another in these fraternities. Don't make the people think I'm coming at the brother's founding member. You know, it was all in nice jest. I mean, I think
Of course it was.
I think it's beautiful that on Founders Day you can actually text your founder and say, "Happy Founders Day."
Wow. That's
well,
like
goodbye.
some backhanded
Goodbye,
shade.
Will. Goodbye,
Yeah, we're
Will.
on the break anyway. You took way too long to get to that to get to your punchline. You were holding that the entire call. Like, that's really what you called to say. It was like I'm going to save this punchline about IOTA to the very end. Oh, by the way, in addition to implicit bias, I think that's nice. You can FaceTime your founder. Right?
Goodbye, Will.
That's the Kappas for you. No shade intended. All right, folks, we got to go take a quick break. Hey, when we come back, we could stay on this topic all day, literally, and not solve it. But there is another story out there that I think, man, it's fire. You think that, what was her name? Oh my God, Sean Spicer, and then he was followed by Huckabee's daughter as press secretaries.
Yeah.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders. If you think that they were something and Saturday Night Live had fun with them as press secretary, wait till I tell you who Joe Biden is considering. Man, I wonder what black woman is going to get this role on Saturday Night Live if this comes to pass. I think it's a brilliant pick if they do it. Wow. Those press events will never be the same, but I'm not going to tell you till after the break. We'll be right back. And don't go cheating and looking on your phone to see who it is. We'll be right back.
Seniors, does your doctor regularly reach out to check on you? Can you walk into your doctor's office and see them if you need to? Do you have your doctor's cell phone number and can you call them anytime, day or night? At Dedicated Senior Medical Center, their only specialty is caring for seniors. Dedicated makes it easy to get the primary care you deserve. Doctors spend more time with patients than the doctors you may be used to. They offer telehealth visits, help you get your medications, and even make sure you get to your appointments. If your doctor isn't treating you like family, it's time to say yes to Dedicated Senior Medical Center. Call Dedicated Senior Medical Center today to schedule a visit and find out what you're missing. Call 267-443-1900. That's 267-443-1900. Appointments are available now.
Pico has many ways to help you lower your energy usage and save money at home. Here's one. If your heating and cooling system is more than 20 years old, it may be time for your contractor to replace it with a high-efficiency Energy Star certified model. You'll get a rebate from Pico and save on your monthly electric bill. You'll find a list of new heating and cooling system rebates at pico.com/rebates. Or you can call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE for all the details. Plus, find instant discounts on smart thermostats and more at pico.com/marketplace. There's free shipping on orders over $49.
In Pennsylvania, it's now illegal to sell tobacco products, including cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco, vapes, or electronic cigarettes to anyone under 21. Stores can get fined up to $1,000 for selling tobacco to someone who is underage. Know the law. Check IDs. Post your retailer license. Make sure only employees have access to tobacco products and only sell tobacco products to customers aged 21 and older. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Step by Step Home Care Professionals is one of Philadelphia's fastest growing Black-owned home care employers, and they are hiring. If you are a caring, nurturing, and compassionate person who enjoys helping people in need, Step by Step Home Care Professionals is looking to hire you. Go to sbshome.care to complete an employment application. That's sbshome.care or call 610-321-3108 for more information and ask for Monet. Step by Step Home Care Professionals is hiring today.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Staples Store. Some volume getting heavy out there. Schuylkill Expressway westbound, University through the Vine getting jammed out through the construction. Eastbound side, not a bad ride yet. Westbound Vine Expressway delays 8th out there. Broadigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Southbound 95, Cotman through Bridge, busy through that work zone. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard, northbound side, not bad yet. PA Turnpike, Blue Route 476 still in pretty good shape. 55 northbound now a jam from Deptford in the 42. Staples helps you ship holiday gifts and packages with care this season. Right now, save 30% on select shipping supplies and 25% on UPS expedited shipping service. Offer ends 1/2/21 while supplies last. See store for details. Save big at Staples. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour with Mark Kelly Tyler and Dwayne David Royster. Hey, we're having a rich conversation this morning. We want to jump to Derek, who wants to talk about spread a little positivity. Derek from North Philly. Welcome to the Power Hour.
Good morning. Love, peace, blessings, and prosperity.
Amen.
Right back at you.
I just wanted, to spread a little positivity because I think we have to look at, though we living in these times right now. First of all, I'd like to say I'm a first-time caller also.
Awesome.
And
thank you.
Thank you for letting me in because I appreciate your conversations. Both of y'all conversations are a diverse, dynamic duo. But yet at the same time, y'all have the unity which Philadelphia spirit should be about, brotherly love and sisterly affection. So I can hear how though y'all are different in some of y'all views, but y'all respectfully have each other's back. And that's the kind of positivity we need to start off to maintain through these COVID-19. The other thing I want to say, we know that things are bad in the city right now. Whoa, there's no doubt. But I like to look at the glass as half full and half empty, not so much about what's not being done because it just amplified itself. We ought to continue to push for the positivity in Philadelphia in order for Philadelphia to get past this. And it's just that simple to me. I just wanted to share that. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Hey, Derek, appreciate that call, man. Call again. Love to hear that energy this morning. And, you're right. I mean, that's a part of being in Philly, that in spite of it all, we got our issues. And I consider this my adopted home now. I mean, I've never lived anywhere as long as I've lived here outside of growing up in Oakland. And pretty soon, I will have been in this area, honestly, longer than I was in Oakland.
Right.
So, I mean, this place means a great deal to me, and I love it in spite of, all the other stuff. So, yeah, but that's who we are. And so, bro, man.
Did you see Leslie's comment? I just get a look at Leslie's comment.
The bromance, stop it, Leslie. They do the same thing about my line, brother. It's like, y'all just cut it out. Cut it out.
I mean, look, the bottom line, we are friends, but we do not agree on everything. And
no, of course not.
We actually argue from time to time, whether people realize it or not. So, yes.
That's right. So, bro,
yes.
I want to see this selection
this would be
by
great.
Joe Biden.
This would be great.
Reportedly. So I've been wondering where she was going to fall in this, Now, typically, it's funny because old school was if you helped on the campaign in a significant way, you would not become a part of the administration. Right. But everybody, even in the city politics, Kenny did the same thing, brought his folk right on over. They transitioned from the campaign right into his administration. So I guess the old school rules are gone. So Joe Biden is apparently considering, as his press secretary, brace yourself, Simone Sanders.
That would be hot. I've worked with Simone Sanders. So when the first Bernie campaign, Simone was the press secretary. So when he came to Pennsylvania, some folk might or might not remember. Actually, I wound up introducing Bernie at a bunch of places, some of the big events that he was doing. And what was really amazing about that was Simone was always there. So I spent time talking with her a little bit, getting to know her. She actually would retweet some of my stuff. And I would retweet her. She spoke at Cheney University not that long ago. I was there when she spoke. And The interesting thing about Simone is that she doesn't bite her tongue about anything. And some of you remember when somebody jumped on stage to attack Joe Biden. It was Jill Biden, and then Simone Sanders came up and tackled the guy. So it was like,
wait, I just want to see Simone Sanders put her hands on her hip when somebody asked that crazy question. Bro,
I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
These would be the best press conferences ever. I mean, ever. I mean, I keep thinking about, Melissa McCarthy when she played Sean Spicer on Saturday Night Live with that moving podium with the wheels on it, riding all around. All right, so that's the question now is it going to be, what's Leslie's last name on Saturday Night Live? The comedian.
Oh, Leslie. Yeah, I know you're talking. I can't think of her last name. Leslie Stahl? Is that last name?
No, that's like the complete opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of her name. I know you're talking about, though.
But the idea of seeing that person in the cold open on SNL every Saturday would just be, I'm telling you, that's what Leslie Jones, thank you, Leslie Tyler. That would be worth this. I mean, not to mention though, all right, that's the funny part. But the truth is, Simone Sanders is so incredibly smart.
Oh my gosh, she
is quick-witted because you don't need a press secretary who's fumbling and can't answer questions. She understands the Biden presidency and the administration because she helped to build it. And she would be a really, really good fit. And in fact, listen, there's some jobs that black folk have gotten that once we got it, nobody else ever had a chance because you kind of like all of a sudden recreate the mold of it. She has that kind of energy where she could recast it, where even Republicans are like, oh no, you got to find a black person for that job. Because that's a black job now because she has branded it so strong. And so again, I hope that she gets it if that's what she wants. She certainly deserves anything that she asked for at this point. I remember man, listen,
and she took a lot of hell. She took a lot of hell when she went to the Biden campaign. My God.
Let me say this. Our family was there when Joe Biden announced when he came out to announce in Philadelphia. There were not many of you all there that day. Trust me. And I'm standing next to Congressman Evans, and we're both looking, and Joe was not looking good that day. He was very shaky, looking very frail. And I just don't remember seeing a whole lot of folk out there because folk did not think he'd be able to make it. And I remember talking to her, like back there behind the scenes, and she was like, don't worry, it's going to be good. We got this. And I'm like, really? I hope so because, I was on my old radio show saying I think Joe Biden should come into the race because I didn't think that the field had what it takes to beat Trump.
Right.
And she was like, no, don't worry, Rev. We got this. She was right.
Yeah.
She had it. And she helped draw that plan. So shout out to Simone Sanders. I just want to say, folk apparently on here are really, really liking that decision if it should happen.
She's sharp, man. She's really sharp. She's a powerful sister, and I would love to see her in that. And I think we would actually have some real press conferences again, which would be very exciting. And I would just love to see her interact with the Fox News people, Newsmax people, the One America people, because I think that would be hysterical.
You know who's going to be like really happy if she gets it?
Who's that?
Her barber. that sister or brother is gonna get paid every day. She gonna be lined up, edged up, part done every day.
Yeah,
that's some good money.
That's right. There you go. Hey,
yeah.
Before we get off the show, I just want to, I've been making on our show a lot of comments about the fact that there's a difference between being a Trumper and a Republican. And so I want to give shout out to Antonia Thompson, Soares Thompson, who sent me this article about a guy I actually went to school with at Boston College who was just nominated to be an Associate Justice of the Massachusetts Supreme Court. I know this is not Pennsylvania news, but the reason I bring this up is that he was nominated by Governor Charlie Baker, who's a Republican in the state of Massachusetts. But Charlie Baker has nominated Serge George Jr., who I went to Boston College with, has been nominated to be a Supreme Court justice by Governor Charlie Baker. He's a Republican governor in his second term. And he has nominated George, who is black and a son of immigrants, son of Haitian immigrants.
He's Haiti, yeah.
Yes, from Haiti. And then he also he nominated the first black female Chief Justice, Kimberly Budd. He also nominated Dalia Argaz Wendlandt to be the first court's Latina justice. And this will be the first time that there will be 3 black indigenous people of color on the Massachusetts Supreme Court that goes all the way back to 1692. This is the difference between being a Republican and being a Trumper, right? You can be a Republican, have conservative values. And Massachusetts is a blue state, but they have a Republican governor, right? You can have conservative values, but still uphold the multicultural democracy that is America and recognize that your court is stronger when you have more people reflecting the diversity of the state on it. So I just wanted to lift that up because I think a lot of times we lump all Republicans together, and they're not all the same. And there are Republicans whom have an ideological difference but do not necessarily see folk as being less than because of race or economic condition or whatever. So congratulations to Serge George Jr. to become the next Associate Justice of the Massachusetts Supreme Court. And can we begin to, just recognize that what we are experiencing right now is an aberration. So anyway, we're at the end of our show. But we'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. from 6 to 7 to bring you the latest news happenings around Philadelphia and, of course, our opinions. Thank you, Kwesa, for holding it down. Thank you, Dr. Tyler, for everything that you do, for all of our callers that called in today, especially Derek, our new caller. We appreciate you. Everybody checked in on Facebook. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Don't forget, go out, change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. Peace.
Deuces.
Weight on my shoulder.